Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Think props. Hey, welcome back. I do appreciate you coming back and seeing this video. We're going to be talking about props today. But first, as you can see with the introduction or the intro video, this is my son Cody, my daughter Alexis.
Hello.
They're both here to join me with discussing the various props that we have made, designed, and built. Well, I suppose that's made. For the various costumes that we have done throughout the years. So, without any further ado, we're going to get into the first prop, which is when I put together the Freddy Krueger costume, I took elements from both the remake and the original, the OG if you want to say. This was based on the remake glove. The actual metal parts there, or the fingers right down through the top of the hand, including the wrist guard, are actually made of actual copper that I've actually heated up, formed, and worked with. These caps, they're just plain copper caps with a flat top to them. I actually had a little contraption. Give me 1 second. See it right here. I actually had sorry about that. I actually had a little contraption. What I did with the caps for the fingers is I've actually had this. I put the cap on here, I set it here, and just whacked the crap out of it with a hammer. Okay, which then in turn it formed the rounded piece of the glove, if you can see that, if Cody can bring it right up in. Okay. There is kind of a generic rivet to keep the fingers moving and so on. The blades itself, or lack thereof, they're actually plastic. The styrene plastic. Basically, it's the stuff that you would get at Michael's for like paint palette, for like oil-based paints or whatever, the artist paint palettes. That's what that's made from. I want to say, yeah, styrene plastic, I want to say. The fingers, I wanted to get a weld look to it. Why don't you zoom into that there, Cody? I wanted to get a weld look on the fingers for the knives. That is actually a JB weld. It just very sloppily put on this to put on the finger here to keep the blades on. The locking piece here is an actual copper piece bent around, soldered, and actually a screw. You kind of need to take a screw gun or a screwdriver to actually put that on the hand. Let's just get a quick look here. You can see that there. I wore this to a local con. I wore it for Halloween. Obviously I did some photo shoots with it. You can see it with some of my promo photos. It actually took me probably about a week to build. Kind of fun, especially if you are into that genre. You guys have anything you want to add to that?
This was a good costume.
Yes, very, very good. The actual red and green sweater. I actually got a fedora, felt hat, and I did some burning and all that. When I actually get into that costume explaining, I'll get into the actual costume itself. So, all right, and that's the Freddy Krueger glove. let's call it a 2.0 because of the remix. All right, put that on the shelf. These are the Daredevil Netflix clubs that it uses. The ones that Alexis is holding are my original set that when I did the costume, I made these up. They're a little, I don't want to call it say tongue-in-cheek, but I took liberties with it. The ones that Cody is holding there, they're actually made from aluminum. I actually put more time and effort into these. I wanted to get a closer to the Netflix series because in the Netflix series you don't have this ring so large. Okay, and plus, not to mention these caps here. Sorry, these caps are not really all that large. As we can see with this, they're all uniform, going right down through there. You do need a ring up here because of the. Let me get back here and show you. Because you want to get it into a holster on the side. Both of them are made the same, just including these. The centerpiece here. No, well, let's just do this first and show the people. It's actually pretty solid. It's converted into the larger club, or you could have the two separate, or give me 1 second. You can actually pull it out with a cable in it. As you remember in what was it? Where was it that Matt actually had somebody, wrapped around his neck and he's pulling on him?
I don't remember.
Wasn't that the yeah? It was on the Defenders. It was actually on the Defenders. He actually, you actually saw him with the club and you're pulling it, and he actually had there was a cable in there.
Only time it's been shown though.
Yes. A lot of people ask how I did this, and I will explain very quickly. You see right in there, I made a cap and inserted it down into the club, just far enough down where I can actually get it closed down and whatnot. The cable actually recedes into the handle. It's not a automatic one. With the new ones, I will be planning on an automatic piece with a spring, so that when you pull it out, the spring will pull, being attached to the cable, will pull up, so that when you're out like this and then you pull back, the spring's going to retract and pull the cable with it. So, and all it is these little button clips. Both of them are going to have the button clips in it. I found that was actually easier, and it's the button clips like you get with tent poles, or you get with like an easy pop-up tents. I just got them off of Amazon really cheap. I think it was like $4 for 8 or something like that. It was very, very inexpensive. I do want to say the materials that I made this out of, the ones that Cody has here is an actual aluminum. I bought an aluminum rod. It was already pre-drilled through. There is the center cap that's over there. You don't need to get it, but the center cap is also aluminum. And I actually turned all this stuff on this machine right behind me, right over here. That's my South Bend lathe. Friend of mine actually gave that to me one day. He's like, hey, you want my South Bend lathe? I'm like, sure. And so all this has been turned on there. These aluminum, I knurled them myself. Everything's great. The precision's excellent on it. These are made from, I want to say it was aluminum stock from like a Home Depot, Lowe's. You know how they have like they got aluminum piping and God, I forget what aisle it is, but it's the aluminum pipe in there, and the caps along with the centerpiece is made out of medical grade plastic. Very similar to this. Same friend that gave me the lathe gave me a whole box of this medical grade plastic, and I'm trying to find some more of it, but it was all turned down, and I painted it. I found that it's a really close color to the wine or Merlot spray paint. I'm trying to think of the exact name, and it's not coming to me, but I will be finishing these other ones. This is my 2.0 versions. I will be finishing those shortly. It's just a matter of time. I barely get down to my workshop these days, but and I will be using similar cabling. This is just picture hanging cabling, believe it or not. You find it in Lowe's with all the picture hanging stuff and all that. And it's a package of like 20 feet or something like that. It's fairly inexpensive. So, any comments from you guys on this? No? Alright. Let's go on to the next piece. Let me give those to Cody. And yes, yeah, we can do the trial now. Alright. This, what Alexis is holding here, was the trident that we used for her drown costume when we did the Dark Knights. It's the actual trident, the toy trident that you can order for the Aquaman movie. I figured that it kind of give a homage to that movie with the drowned having this trident. In the comics, she has a very different style, and I just was like, okay, let's do this, It actually right down to the actual end piece here. I wanted it to get a corroded, a patina look to it, just because the drowned is a villain. She has limited power, but she's a villain with this. So I wanted her to kind of corrupt this trident. That trident gives, I want to say it's like a special abilities to Aquaman, so something like that.
It crippled the legs. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me explain how I did that. Well, the corroding or the texturing itself came from salt, actual table salt, or salt from a salt grinder, salt mill. So I set my salt mill to the most coarsest setting I can, and I got a big pile of it, and I sprayed some spray glue all up and down this, and I started, sprinkling the trident with this salt, and then I went back over it with some clear coat when everything was said and done. I went back over with clear coat. What that did is some of the salt worked its way through, some didn't, which was fine with me. I wanted the randomness in this. So the coloring actually came from right next to you, Cody's some jars. Can you? No, on the shelf. On the shelf.
Small ones.
Those small jars. It's always good to have your when you're talking on doing these videos. It's always good to have your stuff handy. I actually found this stuff on Amazon. It's actually Patina Effect paste, and it is awesome, 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 awesome. Each one of these, it has its unique thickness to it. Like we have this, they call it blue, but it's more cyan. Very thick, it has a grainy texture to it. And I want to say, yeah, this one, because it was, all 6 of these didn't come together. They came in a set of 3, so I ordered both of them. This is a brown rust, which that too is a thick, but that is very grainy. It's almost like if you went to the beach in the sand right near the water. You know how sometimes that gets grainy, really
Yes.
grainy. It's not like fine, like up where you lay down in the beach, sand. Down by the water, it's really that grainy. I'm just quickly going through these. This is the Rust Effect paste. This is Gold Rust. This is actually not that thick, very fine. It's used for like a spattering, like a first coat, and then you build your coats up. Let's say what's that one?
This one is brass.
Brass? Okay. Yeah, that was gonna have a thin. I want to say it was a thin.
Oh, starting open.
Yep, I didn't even use it. Yeah, it was like a thin base for that. But I used this blue and this green on here to get this look going here. And all I did was, yeah, very thick. All I did was, I have a tendency to work with my fingers and not with paintbrushes and stuff like that. So I kind of put it on thick and kind of thick and heavy, and then I kind of brushed it out, worked with it, took the try and kind of flaked off what I didn't want in certain areas and stuff like that. I wanted it to be in the crevices, so pardon the orange piece, but that was from a con. But that was it for this. It was a very simple. Once again, when I do stuff, costumes or props or so, I usually try, if I'm buying something, I usually try to modify it about 75%, up to 75% rework. So I think I did actually a pretty good job with that, with this product here. I enjoyed it, working on it. It was a nice summer day outside when I was doing all this stuff to it. You can, I'm looking at it here. I got these really clumped up bunches, like when something rusts on the ocean, you get that really bubbly rust look. So, what do you guys got to say about this?
It was a really nice costume for me to wear.
When I actually get into talking about the costumes, you got to hear me say that it was one of the best trio that we've actually done. I put a lot of work into these costumes, and Cody can attest to his costume. His was a really, really intense. You actually had to powder him to get him into it, and you needed 2 people to get. And that's not including the person that's getting into it. You needed 2 other people to get into it. So, and he wore it for, what a trooper. He wore it for good 8 hours.
Yeah.
So, but that is the, why don't we put up? That is the Drowned Trident. So, yep. Why don't we get into those? You want one of those? Next ones are Taskmaster. Cody did a Taskmaster Came in I want to say second place with a Taskmaster.
Yep.
At a con. And the Taskmaster was based on concept images. And the concept images had two products coming, or two handles, sorry, not products, but handles, coming out of the back. And one of them was a sword. I'm assuming both of them were meant to be swords. In my thinking, yeah, he's gonna have a sword. He has a shotgun and he has a shield. What else is gonna really wreak havoc but a baton? And I picture this as a electrified baton. So, all right, a little about this. I actually got this foam sword off of eBay, and it had a weird handle. So I started cutting out the grooves on the handles. Yeah, just give it a different look. Once again, I was trying to modify this about 70, up to 75 rework, 75% rework. So we didn't use this scabbard that she has because, well, once again, you heard me before when I actually talked about the costumes. Cody's costume actually had turn around. Yeah. Keep turning around. He actually had the sword like this, and why don't you give me the baton? And the baton like this, and I kind of block it. He had it like that, and let's just look at this. And pretend this is a shotgun. He had a shotgun holster right here too, so he was carrying a lot of stuff on his back, and I want to say that he was actually fairly comfortable carrying all that stuff. So I repainted a lot of this. The yellow and black was based on the coloring or the costume scheme. This baton is a little bit different than the sword, and because the sword actually had a foam handle. It was one of those foam, obviously the foam sword, but it was like just something you buy at like a Walmart.
Yeah, Nerf sells.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was trying to come up with a name. I actually casted this handle, and you got the mold right here.
Yeah.
I actually casted the handle in silicone rubber. There's not much to see here. If you deal with props, so you know the whole process. And I casted out the handle, and I put a small, what's this? Is this a plastic pipe?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, plastic pipe. And I put, pardon me. And I put just a metal rod going down into the handle, just enough so that this pipe will adhere to and glue it down. Once again, painted it very similar to the sword, and not much to it. Once again, it was a 75% rework, and that was built by hand right off. Probably a recast of the handle, if you want to call it that. But anything from you guys for this? No?
No, Lisa.
You wore the costume, so we're gonna get into Shield in a little bit. Alright.
No?
No, we're gonna get into the joke. Let Cody grab his hand over here. Alright. This was one of my newest costumes. It's my Joker costume. And in the comics for, I want to say it was the White Knight, don't get me wrong, he had a revolver, and he had a revolver with a very extended muzzle. Look at that. kind of reminiscent of the Michael Keaton original Batman, the Jack Nicholson Joker. Very reminiscent. Because he had that and he had it in his pants and he pulled it out like this and shot the Batwing right out of the sky. I don't think you've seen the original Bat.
No.
No. So, I'm going to explain this a little bit. It was an airsoft gun. It ended up breaking on me. So I just was like, oh, well, wait, whatever. And I'm like, okay. When I was putting the Joker costume together, I was like, I like this gun. I just like this gun. So, what did I do? I went in and I shaved down a little bit of the muzzle because this muzzle was like out to here. So I shaved down a little bit of the muzzle, made this end piece, which is an aluminum cylinder, and I fit it over there, glued it in, and then this piece was another aluminum cylinder I had hanging around. Glued it in and painted it all up. I haven't taken it out of the house. If I did that, I would be painting up the end with an orange cap. But it was meant for my Joker costume. But it was interesting. It is, to me, it is a 75% rework. I mean, let's call it 50%. I'm sorry. Let's call it 50. I'm not sure. Yeah, the original, because you do still have the original concept with the bullet chambers. It just doesn't work anymore. So, but it is what it is, I suppose. But it was a prop that I'm using on my my Joker costume. All right. Okay. The next one. The next one on deck is my CW Arrow bow. I actually love working on this, and I actually love this prop myself. It actually hangs in my son's room on his wall, and it makes a great piece, conversational piece mostly. So what was my whole thing here? All right, I couldn't find the actual bow itself. I forget now what the name of it. I'll probably end up putting it in a post. Yeah, but that's the style of the bow, but there's another name for the type. So, anyways, up on the RPF, the Replica Prop Forum, a place where I go quite often to get inspiration, look at stuff and whatnot. They were actually given the breakdown on what this bow was or built from. So I'm like, okay, fine. So let me just grab this. And I took this was a dark color, dark stain, and I sanded it all out. First off, I bleached it and then sanded it all out. Okay? And then you can see all these weird hieroglyphs, if you want to call it. I actually put those in by hand, burned them all in. The hard way, mind you, because I don't got a wood burner. So I would be heating up a X-Acto knife blade and just, burning it in. So that was kind of interesting. There are hinge plates at the top and bottom here. I found Walmart or so. This I actually ordered. This was It was a cleat of some kind of for a boat. In post credit, in the post production, I'll have the name somewhere. This leather piece is a hand wrap for a bike, and then I have these nylon cording, which was from paracord. I was going through a point where I was doing a lot of paracord stuff, and this was the nylon piece that was inside of there. You know, the nylon strands, like 7 or 9 or whatever. I glued them up, put them in, painted everything up, and it actually is a working bow and arrow. You could actually fire it. I've actually fired it in the backyard. I think my son has fired it, maybe.
I don't think that.
Yeah. But it is a working bow and arrow, and I wanted to keep it at that point where it was working. So there was a few little threaded pieces I had to cut down and put in, but other than that, that's it for the arrow. I did do a custom quiver, be featured in my costume talk, custom quiver for this, along with custom arrows. It's actually pretty close to the TV version, the first season version of that. I know that Cody was watching, or has completed, all of the Arrow season, and he could probably attest to that.
Oh yeah.
So what do you guys think? Anything? All right. Our next. Cody wants to play. He's throwing stuff by the way. Our next piece is our Flash God of Death scythe. This was